I was 6 when I learned that love can be a ledger, every hug tallied, every mistake subtracted until the balance reads 0. Tonight, that ledger caught fire in a ballroom of crystal and lies, and I held the match. The evergreen resort smells like old money soaked in gardenias, the kind of scent that clings to your skin and reminds you you're trespassing. Chandeliers bleed light onto marble so polished I see my own reflection flinching, eyes too wide, mouth too tight. My dress is midnight silk, cut sharp enough to slice through small talk, but it can't cut the knot in my throat. Elijah's palm settles at the base of my spine, warm, steady, the way he steadies a scalpel before the first incision. His thumb traces a small circle, a silent Morse code. I'm here. Breathe, Harper, he murmurs, voice pitched for my ears alone, low enough that the string quartet's violins almost swallow it. We belong here. You built this. Noah, 6 going on 60, yanks at the bow tie strangling his collar. Mom, this thing's trying to murder me. His dark curls are already rebelling against the gel I wrestled into place an hour ago. His shoes, patent leather, already scuffed, tap an impatient rhythm. I drop to one knee, the silk pooling like spilled ink, and loosen the knot with fingers that still tremble when I remember being powerless. 10 more minutes of torture, I bargain, then the pool. Slides, cannonballs, the works. Deal? He nods, solemn as a blood oath, and I taste iron where I've bitten the inside of my cheek to keep from laughing or crying. I'm never sure which anymore. We glide past clusters of surgeons in bespoke tuxedos, venture capitalists whose cufflinks cost more than most mortgages. Mednova, my company, my sleepless nights, my blood and code, hovers in their conversations like perfume. A trauma chief claps Elijah on the shoulder. Your wife's algorithm caught my patient's arrhythmia before the monitor even blinked. A woman in emerald velvet gasps, she's younger than my residents. Elijah squeezes my waist once, proud. I scan for the groom, spot the bride instead. White silk. Champagne flute. The tilt of her head when she laughs, exactly the same angle she used at 14 to convince Dad I'd broken the microscope on purpose. 11 years disappear in a heartbeat. My pulse forgets its rhythm. The flute trembles in my grip. Bubbles rise like tiny screams, popping against the rim. It's Lila. The invitation read Lila Brooks. I'd assumed she kept Harper, like I did before Elijah gave me his name and a future I could touch. I never connected the dots. The room tilts, a slow-motion earthquake. Mom's face strains to ash across the parquet, the color of printer paper left too long in the sun. Dad steps in front of Lila, shoulders squared like he's still guarding the family clinic from patients who dare ask why their copay tripled. Mom hisses something my name, maybe venom. Head swivel. The string quartet keeps sawing away, but a pocket of silence blooms around us, thick as guilt, heavy as the suitcase I dragged through rain 11 years ago. Elijah's voice cuts clean through the hush. My wife was invited. She runs Mednova. The ripple is instant. Phones tilt like periscopes. Whispers. Asterisk, that's Harper Quinn. The algorithm that slashed readmissions 29% at Mass General. Asterisk, a cardiologist in a navy tux spins toward me. Your predictive model saved my bypass patient. Caught a bleed 6 hours early. Another, Series D? Call me tomorrow. Dad's eyes dart, calculating damage the way he used to calculate upcoded procedures. Mom's smile is a rictus, lipstick bleeding into the fine lines around her mouth. Lila's gaze locks on mine, panic swimming behind the veil, mascara already smudging. Noah tugs my sleeve, oblivious to the storm. Mom, is the princess your friend? I swallow glass. Not exactly, bud. The groom, Dr. Caleb Brooks, cardiologist, heir to a medical dynasty, frowns at Lila. You said your sister flunked. Out. Ran off with some drummer. Never graduated. Lila's laugh cracks like cheap porcelain, high and brittle. Ancient history. Water under the bridge. But that wasn't the worst of it. We drift to the bar, Elijah fielding admirers like a goalie. I sign napkins with Mednova's logo, the ink smudging under my thumb. Every 90 seconds, another grenade. A trauma chief. Your predictive model caught my patient's sepsis 8 hours early. Saved his leg. His life. A venture partner. Series D? Call me tomorrow. We're talking 9 figures. Across the room, Lila fumbles platelet-rich plasma trivia. A Stanford prof raises an eyebrow. She claimed their alumni network. Odd, he mutters to his colleague. I chaired admissions in 2012. Never saw Harper. And their med program doesn't do remote degrees. Dad corners me near the ice sculpture, breath sour with scotch and desperation. Leave. You're embarrassing her. Ruining her day. I smile, lethal, the way I smile in boardrooms when investors try to lowball me. I was invited by the groom. Ask him why that scares you. Noah, loud enough for 3 tables. Mom showed me her college pictures. Red roofs, big library. You went there too, right, Aunt Lila? Lila pales, the color draining so fast her veil looks suddenly too heavy. Caleb's arm slips from her waist, slow as a retraction. Mom, to a cluster of donors clutching crystal flutes, Harper always was jealous. We paid for Lila's Stanford. Harper squandered hers on parties and boys. Elijah's voice, velvet over steel. Funny. Harper paid her own way, 3 jobs, night school, 0 help. Graduated summa cum laude while sleeping on friends' couches. The room tilts harder. Phones rise again, this time recording. I feel the old shame try to crawl up my spine, the same shame that kept me awake on Maya's lumpy couch, counting ceiling cracks like rosary beads. But I'm wearing armor now. 11 years of it. Boardrooms. Patents. A son who calls me his hero. The shame bounces off. I need air. I slip into the powder room. Marble counters, gold faucets, the scent of orchids and panic. Lila's already there. Mascara wand trembling like a seismograph. Our eyes meet in the mirror, hers wild with cornered animal fear, mine flat as the glass between us. Why are you doing this? Her voice splinters, a wine glass dropped on tile. I'm breathing, Lila. That's all. You were supposed to stay gone. Disappeared. A cautionary tale. I dry my hands slowly, deliberately, watching the paper towel soak up water like it's absorbing her words. You cashed my future. I just came to watch the interest compound. She slams the mascara wand onto the counter. Black streaks bloom across the marble like bruises. They told everyone you were a dropout. Irresponsible. That you stole from the clinic and ran. And you believed them. I helped them. The confession rips out of her, raw and ugly. I signed the transfer forms. I posted the Cancun photos. I wanted you gone. The air leaves my lungs in a slow hiss. Not surprise, confirmation. The final stitch in a wound I thought had scarred over. I leave her there, mascara bleeding down her cheeks like war paint. The door clicks shut behind me. My reflection in the hallway mirror looks like a stranger wearing my victory, cheekbones sharper, eyes older, mouth set in a line that says I survived you. Back in the ballroom, the air has thickened to syrup. Caleb finds me in the alcove, bow tie askew, eyes wild with the kind of clarity that comes after a blindsiding diagnosis. Stanford doesn't do remote med degrees. She said. He stops, rewinds 11 years in 30 seconds. Your college fund. I nod once. The room narrows to his pulse hammering at his temple, visible beneath the thinning hair at his crown. He exhales like a man surfacing from deep water. I'm annulment bound by Monday. The clinic, your parents. They've been upcoding Medicare since 2009. Ghost. EKGs. Phantom consults. Lila signed the forms. She knew. The final twist isn't that they stole from me. It's that they stole from widows on fixed incomes, from veterans with shrapnel in their knees, from every patient who trusted the Harper name while Dad pocketed the difference. I built Mednova to save lives. They weaponized medicine to bury theirs. Let me take you deeper, back to the night the ledger first went red. I was 18, rain needling my hoodie like accusations, suitcase wheels rattling over cracked sidewalk. Dad's voice still echoing, if you won't pull your weight at the clinic, don't come back. The door slammed like a gavel. Inside that suitcase, 3 changes of clothes, a laptop with a cracked hinge, and a bank statement showing $42,000, my college fund, transferred to an account labeled L. Harper Education. I slept on Maya's couch for 6 months. The springs dug into my spine like the questions I couldn't ask. I showered at the Y, ate ramen seasoned with hot sauce packets stolen from the diner where I waitressed breakfast shifts. Nights, I studied healthcare administration textbooks under a desk lamp that flickered like it was judging me. I fell asleep with highlighters between my teeth, dreaming in flowcharts. One shift, 3 a.m., the diner empty except for the hum of the fridge. I'm sketching patient flow diagrams on an order pad, coffee gone cold. A resident in crumpled scrubs stops, eyes bloodshot from a 30-hour call. You understand Kellerman's bottleneck theory? It's wrong, I say without looking up. The choke point's interdepartmental handoffs, not intake forms. You're losing 40 minutes per patient in redundant paperwork. He pulls up a chair. Elijah. Coffee steam between us, his wedding ring glinting under the fluorescent light. By dawn, we're mapping a prototype on napkins sticky with syrup, annotated in ballpoint pen. 7 years later, that prototype is MedNova, valued at $1.2 billion, saving lives. In 43 hospitals, expanding to 50 by Christmas. But tonight, the past is a ghost in white silk, and she's demanding her due. Caleb's hand trembles on my elbow as he guides me deeper into the alcove, away from the string quartet's minor key. I need to know everything. So I tell him. I tell him about the clinic's back office, fluorescent lights buzzing like hornets, where I answered phones at 14, filing charts while Lila practiced piano in the waiting room, scales ascending as my future descended. About the day I found billing codes for procedures Dad never performed, ghost surgeries, phantom EKGs, consults with patients who died years earlier. I was 16. I confronted him in the supply closet, the air thick with bleach and lies. He laughed, ruffled my hair like I was still 6. Mind your business, Harper. Some patients can't afford care. This evens the scales. I tell him about the tuition money vanished, the voicemail from Lila in Cancun laughing, sunburned, posting photos of infinity pools while I ate cereal for dinner 3 nights running. About the night I graduated summa cum laude, walking across the stage in borrowed shoes, no family in the audience, clutching a diploma that felt like a participation trophy for survival. Caleb's face cycles through horror, fury, grief, like watching a cardiac monitor flatline and restart. I married a lie. No, I say softly. You married my sister. The lie was the dowry. Across the room, Mom's clutching Lila's arm like a life raft in a shipwreck. Dad's pacing, suit jacket flapping, sweat darkening the armpits of his tux. Noah tugs my hand, chocolate frosting on his chin. Mom, the cake's chocolate. Can we go? The pool's waiting. In a minute, bud. Caleb straightens, the cardiologist snapping into focus. I'm ending this tonight. He strides back into the ballroom, purpose in every step. I follow, Elijah at my side, Noah's small hand sticky in mine. The string quartet has switched to something minor, mournful. Caleb climbs the 3 steps to the microphone. Feedback shrieks like a scalpel on bone. Conversations die. Ladies and gentlemen, he begins, voice steady as a scalpel. A toast to truth. He tells them everything. The upcoding. The stolen tuition. The sister erased from family photos, airbrushed out like a smudge on a negative. Gasps ripple outward. Phones rise again, this time recording, live streaming, immortalizing. Lila's face crumples, veil slipping askew. Mom tries to drag her away, but Caleb's colleagues block the exit, curiosity sharper than anger. Dad shouting now, red-faced, veins bulging in his neck, but the room has turned its back. A donor I recognize from MedNova's last gala steps forward, phone in hand. I'm calling the state medical board. Tonight. I don't gloat. I feel hollow. Like I've lanced an abscess and the pus is finally draining, leaving a cavity where rage used to live. Elijah's arm circles my waist, grounding me. Let's go home. We leave without cake. Noah falls asleep in the car, bow tie finally defeated, chocolate smudged on his cheek like war paint. I watch city lights smear across the window and realize I'm crying not from pain, but from the sheer weight of being seen. Really seen. Not the dropout, not the failure, not the cautionary tale. The architect. The survivor. The mother who taught her son that bow ties are temporary, but promises are forever. 1 month later, Caleb sits in my corner office, 40 floors above the city I clawed my way into. He's thinner, eyes older, the kind of older that comes from discovering your marriage was a clinical trial with falsified data. I turned over the ledgers. Anonymous tip to the Office of Inspector General. I slide a folder across the glass desk. Original intake forms from 2009, my teenage handwriting logging patients they later billed for surgeries that never happened. Mrs. Delgado's hip replacement, billed twice. Performed 0 times. Mr. Park's cardiac cath coded as complex, done in a strip mall urgent care with a portable ultrasound. Testify if they ask, I say. Nothing more. He nods. We understand. Some debts are paid in daylight under oath, with the weight of consequence. 6 months later, I'm on my knees in dirt, planting heirloom tomatoes with Noah. The sun is a promise we keep cashing, warm on the back of my neck. Elijah brings lemonade in jelly jars, the kind with cartoon characters faded from too many dishwashers. A letter arrives, Lila's handwriting, shaky, the loops smaller than I remember. Asterisk, the clinic shuttered. Padlocked. I'm studying medical coding at community college, night classes, the ones you used to take. I was wrong. I was cruel. I'm sorry. I don't expect forgiveness. I just needed you to know, asterisk. I burn it in the fire pit that night, watching the paper curl and blacken, the words dissolving into sparks that rise like fireflies. Not vengeance, compost. Let the ashes feed something new. That fall, I launched the Harper First Gen Medical Scholarship. 20 students, kids who work night shifts at gas stations, who sleep in their cars between classes, who annotate textbooks in pencil because they can't afford highlighters, will never choose between rent and tuition. Their essays sit in a folder on my desk, dog-eared and tear-stained. One writes, I want to build systems that don't leave people behind. I hire her as an intern before the ink dries. I don't forgive. I transplant. Some roots rot so new ones can grow. Some families are the soil you escape, not the garden you tend. If it were you, your childhood sold for someone else's spotlight, your name erased from the family tree, your future mortgaged to fund a lie, would you testify or walk away? Would you burn the letter or frame it as a reminder? Drop your answer below. I read every one. And if you've ever built something beautiful from the ashes of betrayal, tell me that too. We